Carmen Sandiego 40th Anniversary Edition. I remember playing Carmen Sandiego back on the Macintoshes in the library when I was in high school. It was either that or mess around with the school's Prodigy account. And to anyone who understands that reference, you're an old person like me. This is from the same company who made that great Oregon Trail remake that I reviewed last year. So I was already encouraged that this could be a lot of fun. It was a game where you have to find a thief named Carmen Sandiego and her gang who she named Vile. This spawned a cartoon which played in the 90s that I never watched, and a fun game show which played on PBS that's more remembered for the theme song than the show itself. A few years later, Netflix put their own spin on the character and turned her into a hero who's trying to stop Vile's evil schemes. It was pretty good, and I would suggest you try it out. This game is mostly based on the Netflix cartoon, which really wasn't a surprise because this thing was like co-made by Netflix, at least according to the credits. I say mostly because a great deal of the characters in the game were like they were in the show, with the exception of the title character, Carmen Sandiego. She seems a bit off model, or maybe she's just a bit older, but it makes no sense why she's 10 years older because the other characters around her didn't change. And she makes a very specific reference to Vile not being around since the 90s. And this just isn't true in the show, as they're the main antagonist. I just don't understand the changing of the lore. It seems so unnecessary. This review is for the 40th Anniversary Edition, which I believe is the deluxe version of this title. I'm playing the physical release, so I'm not sure the differences between that and the regular release. From what I can see, the base game doesn't have the remake of the original game, the art book, or the music tracks. I could be wrong, but from the descriptions of the two versions, I think that's right. The whole game is you as Carmen Sandiego trying to track down Vile henchmen who have stolen an item. You're flying to different countries, finding clues, and getting enough information to get a warrant for the villain. You have a certain number of days to do this, or you lose. You'll also lose if you don't get a warrant, or if you get a warrant for the wrong person. There are two modes to play, a main story of the game, which is always the same, or the quicker version, which has random items stolen and random villains to catch. It's like the Carmen Sandiego game of the 90s, but with less countries to visit or easier clues. There are difficulty levels in the generic mode, and you'll unlock them as you level up Carmen, by doing missions or finding objects. The difficulty levels will make finding clues harder or having you visit more countries. The main quest was interesting, and clearly the thing they put the most work into. In each location, there are 3 places that you need to explore. It's optional which ones you do, or even how many you do. When you get to a location, you might have to tail someone to pickpocket them, or use gadgets to get clues on what they were doing. But most of the time, you're just talking to people that are there and getting clues from them. But there are also minigames at times, which were mostly fun. The worst minigame in this one was when you had to uncross lines. It was so frustrating. Happily, if you don't want to do this, just don't bother going to this location. You won't get the clue for the next place, but since nothing ever changes, if this is the second time you played this, you already have the answers, and you can just go where you need to go. And that was a bit disappointing in the main game, that they never changed up anything. In order to get the clues where they're going, or what they look like, you're going to have to go to the places in the area and talk to people. This takes up a certain amount of time, and like I mentioned, you only have a certain number of days to finish this. The witnesses will have the most random information, like the airport code has a certain letter. Why would they ever know this? One of the worst things was when they would give you a description of the person they were talking to. They would often have the most simple information, but they would say it in the most pretentious ways. They will give you information that will narrow down your search. But then they start talking about things like how this person was afraid of the dentist, or how the person had mahogany hair. Like I have any clue what color that is. It's absolutely bizarre that these witnesses have conversations with these people, but can't describe more than one characteristic of the person. And they can't even describe if they're a boy or a girl. If this was Guess Who, that would normally be the first thing you might ask. So it would help you filter out some of the options. But I guess they didn't do that because it would make it too easy. Or they would have to create way more suspects to offset this. If you fly to the wrong city, the game will tell you and you'll fly back to where you were to pick again. You'll lose the time that it took you to get to the wrong city. The more you play the game, the more facts about the cities that you'll retain in your notebook, which makes the clues more helpful. But I still have no idea why some random villain would tell some stranger they were going to a country with a presidential republic. Why would they ever bring that up? There are music files in the deluxe version, which has the background music you hear throughout the game, as well as Netflix's version of the cartoon theme song. It even has the full version of the Carmen Sandiego game show theme song, which was pretty cool. Carmen Sandiego 40th Anniversary Edition was pretty good. It was a faithful adaptation of the classic game. That being said, it did get a bit repetitive after a while, but since the games were only about 20 minutes long, it wasn't that bad. Now this version is normally $49.99, and I would wait for it to go on sale. You can buy the base version for $29.99, but it's missing the remake of the original Carmen Sandiego game, where she is the villain, plus the art book and the music. You just have to decide if those 3 things are worth the extra $20. But you should definitely wait for either one of them to go on sale.